I guess I'm not talking, so why would anybody pop up? Yesterday I got into a fight with my partner. It got kind of bad and I'm a little dramatic. Because he is starting to read the Bible for the first time, really, in his life. And I have not like a complicated, like, it's not like I have religious trauma, but I have a pretty nuanced view of religion, Christianity in particular. I have a love-hate relationship with. Yeah, so I was raised by a disgraced Southern Baptist pastor who was still making developments in his church while he was having affairs. Yeah, man, like, it's like growing up behind the curtains of Oz, religiously speaking. Yeah, I mean, church, the modern Christian church, just by default, I mean, you can go into these places and feel the pastors out or what have you, but by default, pastors are not in communication with God on any level above what any human is. I mean, I think that the voice in our heads is God a lot of the times when it's like a new idea that is not, that comes from inside you, but it's not an idea that you would have had. I think that's God. But in terms of like the practice of religion in a community, I don't really I think that it's more important the people. I mean, it's a be the change you want to see in the world kind of situation. Because, I mean, people, I'm tired of people talking about church people and talking shit on them because they don't really know better. I mean, I'm sure if they understood that they were not walking in the path of Jesus, that they would change what they were doing. I think people act the way that they're taught to act, but I think that all that loops back around to the fact that pastors are paying for degrees in seminary school. They're not actually connected to God any more than the average person. So it's the pedestals of that. And I do also feel like religion has put a lot of like insecurity into people almost. Like the Catholics get their guilt, but Southern Christians, they don't really understand spirituality. They're more like checking boxes off the list instead of communing with a higher power. Yeah, I think that there's more guilt of like Satan and living in sin and what have you than trying to actually be a good person. So I made this argument to my partner last night that what was it? That I think that lying about being raped as an intentional way to ruin a man's life is a far greater sin. I think that is a sin, a deep sin. And I don't think that prostitution is necessarily a sin. I think just at face value, the worst sin is doing something malicious towards somebody's life, right? You know, and so that's when you get into the people aren't going to be able to have an equal conversation if they can't agree on the definition of the words that they're using, pretty much. So sin, golly, I almost believe in like a more karmic sense of sin. I don't think that Jesus really cares about us having a cigarette in times of stress. Yeah, I think they just don't want us to lash out at people, you know? This really doesn't have anybody on it. I'm just trying to get somebody into this. Can you hear me now? That's hilarious if I've been on mute this whole time, because that would explain that would explain why nobody's coming or staying at all. Like, it tells me how many people are here in that top little thing, and I could see 0 the whole time. But I started another couple lives in the last few days that I ended really fast. So, like, they give me, like, a rundown at the end of it of how many people came, how many people watched, concurrent views, how many comments were on it. So golly, yeah, I felt like, I feel like I had too many boring lives, and now YouTube won't send anybody over here. As long as I have one person join this one. I had another live, one of the first ones that I did, where there's only like a handful of people in it. Like, I think the maximum was 16. And it felt like after a little while of the back and forth between me and their comments, it felt more like a one-sided FaceTime. So I kind of like ended it quick because it was like, oh, yeah, there we go. There's another person in here now. I wonder if they believe in God. Or if they read the Bible. Yeah, because Robert, he's been getting back into the Bible now. His dad is becoming a deacon at a church in Mounds. Or he is already a deacon at a church in Mounds. So Robert is like reading the book of Matthew now. You struggle. Yeah, I think that you probably don't struggle in terms of what Jesus wanted you to do. You might struggle in terms of what we perceive the Bible as wanting us to do, because they're two different things. So people are reading the Bible, getting all back into it, my partner specifically, reading the book of Matthew, and I have never read the Bible, but I was raised in a house that, for fun, would have theological debates. Like, I was raised by a man who, yeah, the Bible's been, hi, everybody, yeah, the Bible, I mean, it's a different, when I read it, I try to read between the lines, and I wonder what the writers were really saying in it, because it's translation and translation. We were just debating last night, we were reading the part of Matthew, God bless, that says, about how Satan came to him and said, or brought him places and said, worship me, before the crucifixion. And the debate was whether that was a physical presence there or if it was a spirit. Spirit of the law versus letter of the law. Exactly. So I don't believe that there is an entity of Satan or the anti to God. I don't believe in it because I think that there are true scientific roots in our religion. I mean, like, we've evolved to worship. Things happen in our brain, like supernatural stimuli. So I don't think that the devil is a spirit, I think that the devil is that pull to make the wrong choice inside of us. I think that specifically in the book of Matthew, with the devil coming and saying, run, follow me, go away from here. Jesus knew that he was about to be crucified, but he knew that that was part of his story. That's what God had laid out for him. That was his lot. And the spirit saying that, yeah, and okay, so those societies I'm actually pretty well versed in. And the devil is a fallen angel, but yeah, so all those ancient religions, they did not worship a Christian God, but there are so many similarities, you know? Like, how can you... It seems like the purpose of religion is to tell people to live in accordance with the universe and not make those intentionally bad decisions. So back to the book of Matthew and like the crucifixion, Jesus being tempted to run away from the event of the crucifixion would have been the devil. And he would have survived, but he wouldn't have been on God's intended path for him. I don't know. Yeah. Satan didn't start as an individual. His name Satan was a job title employed by God to tempt people. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that that is within us. I almost feel like that's the body, the physical human body, and the endorphin rush of doing things. Like, yeah, everything, you know, the mice in the experiments, they'll keep pressing that button for the morphine instead of food or water until they die. And I think that humans will do that same thing. I mean, hedonism has been around for millennia. It is a known thing that humans chase pleasure. And I think that that pursuit of pleasure, irregardless of responsibility and morality, I think that is Satan. They're not ancient religions. They're still ancient society. Whom yet still had on part is Christianity is among the last religions to come into existence. Debatably so. Many more religions have been invented since then. Scientology, for one. Tons of cults. Mormonism is newer than Christianity. It's debatable on whether or not Mormonism is Christianity. By the sword extinguishing other beliefs in their priority. Yeah, I mean, colonialism made a big difference in it. I think that number one, I mean, the Irish. The plight of the Irish mirrors almost every colonized society in the world. We worship differently. God the Mother, I mean, the Druids, they had to extinguish that by the sword and replace the beliefs. You know, I have seen the quote that the Roman Empire never ended and that it's just the Vatican today. Yeah, Roman Catholics, I mean, yeah, with the versus the Persians and the Muslims, honestly, when you look at the tenets of Islam, these religions aren't different, you know? It's almost like they're kind of culturally customized to be predisposed to acceptance by certain societies, but it is all the same thing. I mean, it's just telling you to be a good person, to understand that people are just people, and to not hold them to unrealistic standards. Yeah, I think they're all the same. And honestly, if anything, same God. Yeah, monotheism. It's like what is it? There's a symbol right here, and everybody's looking at it from different sides, and they all see something different, but they're looking at the same thing. It's not God that I challenge every single side. Exactly. Yeah, I'm almost in a place to in a modern world today with the internet and everything, there's almost no use for the idols anymore. Like the gods of Egypt and Greek, they were storytelling devices to tell people about the drives that we all have that vary between all of us. But we all have, I mean, like the god of war, like an aggressive person, like Zeus with the slanging D, like the addicts, like they're all storytelling devices. And I think in a modern world, people who do not believe in a God, I think they could be swayed to believe in the universe. Just a drive, like connection things, like how coincidences, really? Yeah, I think we can have people believe in the universe. I think there is some place for organized, well, there is a place for organized religion as it stands. It's the community of it. But in terms yeah, the Bible doesn't really apply to our society anymore. Or, you know, maybe I'm only thinking about myself because I have done this work, but there probably are people around who need and a deeper, more aggressive challenge. How do you destroy a god? Where is Odin? Where is Ra? Where is Zeus? Yeah, that's what I was, yeah, it's the worshipers that die, but the God still exists. It makes you wonder how many forces there are out there. Or maybe they all have been the same one. And it's not necessarily killing the God, but killing them being regarded as that name. Place titles once you understand that. Yeah. And yeah, the science, but also I think that terrible experiences are also God. Like, not just the natural disasters, it's science, but I think all things work through God. I think if things like that come down to soul contracts, where this population of people was meant to be devastated by a tornado or a hurricane or a tsunami. I don't think we will a God into existence. I think that people have evolved to worship. I don't think that there is a human being on this earth who has come to life and sentience without being told by somebody that there is a higher power out there. Which, I mean, it brings you into the, like, monkeys on the islands who a scientist shows one monkey how to use a rock to break a coconut, and then within a month, all of the monkeys on both islands know how to use a rock to break. Like, it's... I think that there's more hive mind to it. And with how many people have worshipped throughout human history, it has to be true. It has to be true. Like, there is some greater force there. You know, I've been through terrible things, and I have held faith that everything is a test, and everything will come full circle and strike again. I mean, it's weird. I don't know. Bad experiences test you, and the rewards are always related to the bad experience. Why do you want to talk so much about the Vikings, dude? Is it because you're like Viking descended? I bet you, the circle you speak of. Yeah. It's all, and karma is like the biggest thing. I think that karma is the only universal truth. Yeah, because when you put badness into the world, you have a bad life. And I believe that if you have put goodness into the world, you have a good life. Sorry. The Vikings didn't bring Odin into existence. Yeah, an interpretation of perspectives. I mean, nobody wills a god into existence. They just give a name to something that they've been perceiving. Yeah, they just give a name to it. Did you just correct her? I'm so confused what just happened. Yeah, I don't know. But my partner last night, he started with a little bit of, like, I think that couples are stronger when they, live by the tenets of the Bible together. And with all my, maybe it is a little bit religious drama. Like, I don't think that the Bible is how you live a godly life or the standard of it whatsoever. By that token, the name was Odin, replaced with Christ, though. Christ and not Odin. Have you heard about the parallels between Zoroaster and Jesus? Because I can imagine a world where, yeah. Not everybody's angry out there in the world. Rose by any other name would smell as sweet. It doesn't matter what we call her. We see her. Yeah, I think people are... The only reason people aren't open to conversation is because... For you, chat, are demons aliens? Bad ones, maybe, yeah. I think everything's karma. Demons almost feel like a physical manifestation of karma coming back to you. I think that the only people who get demons are people who have intentionally hurt people repeatedly in their life. I'm a stand-up comedian. I have a joke about aliens won't come around anymore because they know we won't worship them. And then guns work like vaccines because they keep the hullabaloo out. And I think aliens know that they are hullabaloo now. But yeah, we used to worship aliens. We used to see them as gods. So I think that a lot of non-human supernatural entities can be boiled down to aliens that humans at the time could not explain. Yeah, we're kind of, we're an anomaly in terms of the planet. Yeah, there's past life, not past life, there's near-death experience stories where people talk about being taken to other planets in our universe. And, like, every single, like, not every single planet, but that there are, like, incomprehensible amount of planets in our universe that carry our souls, like there are other populated planets out there, and every planet is kind of like not on a different journey, but they're focused towards different things. I've heard, this is a story, I can't remember, but People talking about past life experiences and what their guides took them through. Not past life, near death experiences. This is stories of people who are clinically dead that get resuscitated and have memories of that between zone where they're not shown the answers of the universe, but they get that kind of like, all right, now that you graduated, this is life, you know? Yeah, and I've always thought about that. Like, there's a website, hideas.com, back in like 2009, and I saw a story on there called The Egg. And it said, you know, what if we were all one soul? That is, like, the task at hand is to live through the body of every single other person on the planet. Like, everybody, we are one soul, incomprehensible. Yeah, the World War III will be fought with sticks and stones. But the near-death experience, yeah, the egg, where we're all one soul that's going to live through every single life, which, it's crazy to me, like, the graduation, and we become a god after we live through all these lives and understand the weight of emotion. Yeah, there is a truth. There is a nature to our universe. This is not just random. I don't know, the Einstein's theory of everything. I mean, it'd be cool to finish it. It'd be really cool to, yeah, finish it. 'Cause there is something. There is a higher force behind this, not even just like, oh my gosh, thinking about it in terms of like current events and like blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm talking about, I don't know. I'm getting a little crazy. I kind of lost that train of thought, but life is beautiful. We are meant to just be here. I think that getting consumed by bodily experiences is choosing the devil. I think that if you have a terrible thing happen to you and you let it ruin your light, then you have a ruined light and you're not getting it back, and you might not even get to heaven, you know? Yeah. Keep losing my train of thought. 2 base pair math. Yeah. Yeah. That's my baby now. Alright, I'm gonna get off of here. This was a good talk. Subscribe. I try to be funny, but there's also, I don't know, I'm starting my career because I feel called to. I don't want glory and esteem and to be found attractive and all that stuff. I would like to change the way people think. Like, Bruce, you talked about, thank you for not getting offended or whatever it was, not offended, but like having a real conversation back and forth. I think that people who can have that back and forth conversation are intelligent. I think not being able to have that back and forth, nuanced conversation where you discuss a topic. Anyway, I'd like to be a thought leader. I think I'm a 26-year-old woman. I think a lot of other people could use this perspective. I think you're the only one in here now, Mom. But, yeah. I love you. All right, subscribe for more philosophy and comedy. Maybe mixed. Bye-bye.